All right, let's welcome in one of the rising stars in the business, Lauren Michelson joining us, sports reporter for KETV. How are you doing? Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me. You're way too nice, by the way, for saying that.
Well, I know stars when I see them.
Thank you.
Let's start off by, before you came here, you were in Lincoln, is that correct?
I was. I spent about 1.5 years in Lincoln after graduating. I won't tell you what school I graduated
What
from.
school did you go to, Lauren?
May ruffle some feathers, University of Missouri, but we're moving past that. I'm wearing the red a lot more. And then started at KETV about 2 years in February it will be. So it's flown by.
Yeah.
Lauren, let's just hop into obviously what happened Sunday afternoon with James Franklin. When you saw the press conference yesterday afternoon, what did you take away from Coach Rhule's initial comments? A lot of stuff you can read into, obviously, his initial comments about Penn State, but what you thought stood out the most from his comments yesterday afternoon?
Well, I think two things can be right. Like, he can have this love and passion for his alma mater and always maybe have one eye on what could be a dream job for him. But I think he's authentic in saying he loves it here. He loves Nebraska. He's a program builder. He's doing it here. I think he can kind of have both his eye on staying, and I think he can maybe test the waters too. We don't know anything yet. I think he handled it as well as he could have, given the circumstances. He wasn't going to come out and say, I'm not going to Penn State. That's not the nature of college football right now. So I think he handled it best he could. Now, different comments from Raiola today, that's a whole different story, you know, but I think, you know, with where things are moving, he said the right things. The most interesting thing he said, which we've heard all week so far, is, you know, he can leverage this.
Yeah.
What can he get from Nebraska in having maybe other jobs eyeing him? Can he get more money to compete $30, $40 million rosters? Well, that's the question.
Do you think this will quiet down over the next few weeks, or as Nebraska potentially wins, does it just continue to ramp up more?
It's going to continue to ramp up. You know, Coach Holgorsen said it today, Rhule said it Monday. When you win, other programs want you. It's just like programs and wanting players in the portal, right? Like, the more you win, the more you succeed, the more they're going to want Coach Rhule. It may not only be Penn State. However, we don't know exactly what Penn State wants. Can Rhule go there and win right away? We don't know. We know that what he's done here, but I do think this is going to be an ongoing conversation over the next couple weeks, and they have a very good chance of winning maybe every game the rest of the season. So definitely.
Sean, Lauren said 30 to 40 million. Can they bring in players valued that much to spend that much money?
Well, they were in a position last year to like get Isaiah World. And
sure.
I think that they could have gone a certain level, which was high. Then Oregon comes over the top, 200,000 or 300,000 more than that. And
we're talking about 20 million right now, right? Not 30 or 40.
Yeah, I mean, Nebraska's probably, you know, with their rev share and NIL, probably closer to 20. And that would put them in a pool of probably like teams like 6 to 20, in that range of teams. There's a group of about 5 or 6, and Miami's in that group, Oregon's in that group, Ohio State's in that group, maybe A&M, maybe Tennessee. I mean, there's a few teams that are in a level that other teams are not, and a lot of that comes down to winning. Now, Texas Tech has found a way to kind of join this party. BYU as well, with some of the money they have out there with the support of the Mormon community. So I do think it's tough, because buying the most expensive players doesn't always guarantee anything either. And it can create problems if it doesn't go well, and we've seen that as well. I mean, Miami finally got it figured out this year. In the last few years, it has not been as pretty for Miami.
USC, the same thing. How was the trip to Maryland? How was the stadium? How many Nebraska fans were there? What was that like?
Well, it was interesting when we were driving up. We're there. They opened the gate only like 2 hours before for media, which is a little bit different. And we're walking up and we're like, it feels sleepy here. It was fall break for the students there. There weren't a lot of students, Maryland students there. And then we get in and we're slowly seeing a bunch of Scarlet and Cream enter the stadium. And by the time kickoff starts, I mean, we're like, this entire end of the stadium is filled with Nebraska fans. And, you know, especially when we walked down to the field, the end of that game, to watch that final drive, it felt like and sounded like a Nebraska home game. It was unbelievable. One of the coolest environments I've ever covered. I don't know if you think the same thing, but it was special. And the way they celebrated coming out of that locker room, Coach Rhule sent his players back out in the field and said, go celebrate with these fans. I mean, if that doesn't show the growth and the mindset and the jump this team has made since he's been here, I don't know what does.
I had some friends at the game, and they got in their Ubers, and they said they wanted to go to the stadium on a Saturday afternoon. The Uber's like, what stadium? What stadium? What do you go to the stadium for on a Saturday afternoon? Ain't nothing to do over there. So that totally adds up when we saw the the fanned, 50-50, whatever you want to call it. But you look at the play of Nebraska through from start to finish, the next play mentality. I think that's coming to fruition. You didn't see that necessarily last year, but just the evolution of this team, just having that mentality. You see the mistakes, 3 turnovers, but they're able to overcome those mistakes and just keep battling and fighting through those mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I asked Rule about it post-game. I said, this no-quit mindset, the relentless pursuit of wanting to win at all costs, you have not seen, like you just said. And he kind of dumbed it down. He kind of just said, well, we're just better. We're learning to win. We have more talent. We have way more talent. And that, mixed with the confidence you see from these guys, is the recipe for success that we have not seen.
What are your thoughts on the schedule now for Nebraska moving forward? How much it's maybe changed with the outlook of some of these games, and with Penn State and even UCLA continues to change, but it's about as favorable as you're going to see maybe for a team in the Big Ten.
I think it's favorable. I think games like Penn State that you were maybe really nervous about, you're not as concerned about. However, I don't think we have ever seen this much parity in college football, at least within the last decade. I mean, and the coaches talk about it every week, players talk about it every week. You let your guard down one time, you're done. And it's been close games. So you have to be mindful and be on your P's and Q's and understand that it can be any team's day, any single day. So I think they have a very good opportunity to go undefeated this next half of the season. Also not. I mean, it really could swing either way.
A big conversation point, obviously, the last 2 days have been the short week. How do you think they've handled that, getting ready for a Friday coming off of a Saturday?
I mean, last year I maybe would have said it'd be a concern, especially with some outside distractions. I'm not worried about this team being distracted. I'm not worried about this team letting outside factors bother them. It's been really remarkable to see how internal they are keeping every single thing. They speak as Rule speaks, they do as Rule does, and they're really locked into what is around the team right now, and I think they're going to be just fine going into Friday, which in the past has not always been the case. And this is going to be a tough game. We know how tough Minnesota is.
Yep.
Lost 5 straight. I mean, hopefully they can flip this around, but I think they have a chance to do it.
Yeah. Thoughts on Northwestern time? We haven't gotten that yet. Where would you like to see that game?
Well, so like the fan in me has one opinion, and then like the journalist in me has another. You know, the earlier
11
the game.
a.m.
Yeah, the earlier the game. Yeah, 11's fine, anything, because we only have a 10 o'clock show, but a little bit more time to get everything done is always a good thing. But I mean, you know, they keep winning, the better time slots they're going to get. I bet it's like an afternoon game.
No doubt. Lauren, we appreciate it. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you guys for having me.